Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jesse, and today we're trying a new video format. We'll see how it goes. Today's video is coming to you in 5 different parts. Bink, 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 bink. I've been in New York for a few weeks, and I thought that I would share some of the bookish things that I've gotten up to these past few weeks. Let's get to it. We are in fact starting today's video with a haul, and when I say haul, I mean a big haul. I'm partnering up with Redbubble on this video for their back to school campaign. If you're new here, hi, I'm a Redbubble lover through and through. I'm going to share a bit about Redbubble before I dive deep into the haul, because we're going to be diving deep into it. We're going to be splashing into it. There's a plane being loud. Shh. I'm in New York, so we're probably going to get lots of New York background music. Can't do much about it. Redbubble is the go-to place for students to shop for all their personalized and custom back-to-school essentials. They've got items to help you spice up your dorm room, shirts for your first day fits, backpacks, water bottles, you name it, they've got it. Redbubble has something for everyone, and is the place to find exactly what you need to express yourself for this back-to-school season. I will leave a link down below in the description where you can find out more information on Redbubble, so go give that a little clickety-click. And of course, they hooked me up with a 15% off code if you want to use it. The code is RBC-BTS23-jessethereader. Use that code at checkout and get 15% off your order. And now it's time for my Redbubble haul. I did already open one of the packages because there was one thing that I wanted to carry around with me while I'm in New York, and that is this glorious backpack. I mean, come on, I needed this to carry around with me as I walk the streets of New York. I needed this for every bookstore I went into so I could pile it up with books, and that I have been doing. I'm obsessed with this design. As you can see, it's got books all over it. It is the perfect backpack for me. I'm gonna wear this all day, every day, and make sure everybody knows that my entire personality is books. Even though I feel like that's something that's never hard to read about me, because when am I not holding a book in my hand? Currently I'm not, but normally I am. In that package, I also have this super cute fox pouch that has all these like bookish things on it. Like he's reading to other foxes, he's having tea and reading, and he's just reading in general, so I just thought this was perfect. I love their pouches. I use them for so many things. I never knew how handy pouches were until I started getting pouches off Redbubble. And I was like, I can hold so many things in here. The only thing I can't hold in here is a book, but it's fine. I've got other things to hold books, like my backpack. The next thing I have here is, of course, a tote. Another thing that I can use to hold books. Listen, you can never have too many tote bags. That's something that I have learned. As a reader, I am constantly needing a tote bag. I'm never not needing a tote bag. As you can see, the design is modeled off of a tarot card, and the card on the bag is the book lover, which is my card, obviously. I'm the book lover, in case you didn't know, it's me. In this package, I have this very wavy laptop case. I love their laptop cases, and I've been needing a new one because I got a different laptop and my old ones don't fit my new laptop, so I decided to grab myself a new one. Plus, we're doing a back to school campaign here, and I feel like laptop cases are essential. And it's also just something that you don't think about. Like, if something happens to your laptop and you lose all your assignments, like, you're screwed. Not only are you screwed, but like, laptops are expensive. They're not cheap. I also got 2 notebooks because you can never have too many notebooks. Actually, you can in fact have too many notebooks. I know this for a fact, but what's 2 more, right? What's 2 more? The first one in here just has a guy reading surrounded by books. It just was like super magical to me, and I felt like I needed it. Maybe every time I look at it, it will inspire me to go sit by a bunch of books and read, because I need more of that inspiration in my life. Do I need more of that inspiration in my life? I'm just trying to justify this notebook. Is it working? No. Then I got this Heartstopper one that has Nick and Charlie on it. Redbubble has official licensed Heartstopper items, which is really cool. Not only do they have official art, but they also have fan art. And with the new season of Heartstopper dropping, I am in the Heartstopper mood. I love this. I'm excited to have this notebook. And who knows what I will fill it with. Maybe like notes on the show. But probably not. We've got an art print. I love getting art prints from Redbubble because they just have such a variety of different things that you can get as an art print, and that's something that I just like really appreciate. I got this art print that is a art board print, I believe. This is my preferred art print style that they offer just because I feel like it's super sturdy and it will last a really long time. This is just a chart of butterflies. I just thought this would be a very pretty thing to display somewhere in my house. Oh, that was a fail. Big time fail. Big time rush? No, big time fail. There we go. I got 2 t-shirts, which I'm very excited about. The first one has a butterfly on it. I love it. And the second one has this bunny creature on it that I just thought was so cute. I just had to have it. I don't know what it is about me lately, but I've just been like falling for cute things. Like, if it's cute, I want it. I'm in my surround myself with cute things so I can forget how miserable the world is era. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if you see my videos moving forward, just surrounded with cute things, you'll know why. Everything's fine, I promise. Everything is fine. That is it for the Redbubble unboxing portion of this video. Thank you to Redbubble for sponsoring today's video. Again, be sure to go and check them out with the link down below in the description. And again, use my code RBC-BTS23-jessethereader to get 15% off your Redbubble purchase. All that information can be found down below in the description.
Blue dude, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. Do you need to fix it? Talking bullshit. It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Blue dude, bad mood, sorta witty and jaded, but let's not talk about you. Your coyote song on a rerun. Are you hound dog tired, singing all night long? Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue? Not blue. Not
It's book haul time. I'm a little out of practice when it comes to book hauls because I haven't done a book haul in quite a while, so bear with me, be patient with me. I mean, how hard can it be to just like show up a book and be like, I'm excited about this book. I'm so intrigued by this book. This book sounds fascinating to me. I'm dead inside. Where exactly is this video going? I have no idea. I went to 3 bookstores yesterday. 2 I would consider my favorite, and 1 I just feel like it's a staple that you have to go to when you're in New York. So let's talk about them. First up, I went to Kinokuniya. Kinokuniya is a chain bookstore, so you can find them in more places than New York. I just love the New York location. I've been to a couple of their stores across the US, and I have yet to find one that competes with the one that you find in New York. Like, it is just solid. As someone who tries to sprinkle in translated fiction as much as I can with my reading life, it is the perfect bookstore for me. Though they do mostly specialize in Japanese translated fiction, they do have an array of other books. And when it comes to their manga selection, top tier. That second level of Kinokuniya, ooh, it hits different. It's so good. That might be why it's my favorite. I picked up 2 things at Kinokuniya, 1 a book and 1 a manga. I feel like you just can't leave that store without a manga in your hand. Like, if you're leaving that store without a manga in your hand, what was the point? The book that I got is called The Boy and the Dog, and I just have this feeling deep inside of me that this book is gonna make me cry. I feel like when it comes to animal stories in general, like a majority of the books that I've read that have a focus on animals, I tend to cry. Specifically dogs. Let's be real here, I am a dog person through and through, and so stories about dogs always just have me ending up in an emotional place, and I feel like that's because a lot of dog stories are just so heartfelt and so emotional. I feel like a lot of the times the dog ends up dying, and maybe that's why they always have me crying, because of emotional manipulation. And this story, it's literally gonna make me emotional. The description alone. This story is about a dog and its journey to be reunited with its first owner, and all these people along the way are helping him in trying to get back to his first owner. Like, I have a feeling feeling this is going to make me emotional. And then of course I left Kinokuniya with a manga in hand, and that manga is Imaginary. I actually saw this one a few days prior because I have probably been to Kinokuniya like 4 times so far on this trip. Can't say I'm mad about it. It's my favorite. I love it. But I saw this one a few days ago and decided that I needed to have it, so I went back for it yesterday. This story follows this guy who had this like romance as a child, and I believe they grew apart and the girl ended up moving away, and so they just like never were able to like keep that romance alive into like adulthood. But now that they're adults, they've reconnected and they're back together again, and it's about them kind of exploring what they had as kids and also like exploring their childhood. And as kids, your imagination runs wild when you're like playing on the playground. You play all these fun games with your friends, and I think it's like about exploring that as well, which really excites me. Like I love the idea of like imaginary friends, exploring your imagination. Like I'm very excited for this one. I think it could be very wholesome. Then I went to this store called Book Culture. I went to a different location than I'm used to yesterday. I went to Book Culture on Broadway, which is not my favorite. I much prefer Book Culture in Queens. So if you ever come to New York, go to the Book Culture in Queens. But Book Culture just has like such a cozy setting. Like you walk in and you just feel like this immense amount of comfort. They have such a nice curation of books. Like I love looking at their table displays because I always really appreciate those. And also like the staff recommendations are always on point. And when it comes to aesthetics, yes, yes, yes. The book that I picked up at Book Culture is kind of a creepy one, and one that might seem unexpected for me, but I've been really wanting to get kind of into nonfiction. In particular, I want to read nonfiction that's just like really interesting to me and is kind of unusual and explores like really niche things. And I feel like the book Dark Archives, the one that I picked up, does just that. The little blurbity blurb here will explain why. It says, a librarian's investigation into the science and history of books bound in human skin. Can you tell why I am intrigued? I've just been really wanting to explore like these really fascinating things, and I feel like I've seen more and more recently books pop up like this one in the nonfiction field where they explore these like very specific things that are very interesting but also very niche. So I'm super excited to eventually get into this one. I feel like having picked up this book, I already have like a video idea brewing, so look forward to that. Finally, yesterday I went to the Strand. I feel like there's several Strand locations now in New York, but I went to like the Grand Strand. What is it called? Just like the main bookstore Strand? Here's the thing. I almost didn't go to the Strand yesterday just because I feel like it's so cliche to like go to the Strand when you're in New York. But then I felt like I had to go because it almost feels like a New York trip is not complete if you haven't gone to the Strand. So I went to the Strand. But when I went, I was reminded as to why I love it so much. Something that I really appreciate about the Strand is the fact that they don't only focus in on like the new hot trendy books. Like that's not necessarily their focus. They do definitely have displays that do show off the new hot trendy books, but walking into the Strand is like walking into a portal to the past. As you browse the shelves, you'll be reminded of loads and loads of books that you had forgotten about, and there's just an immense amount of comfort in that familiarity that I really appreciate and love. I picked out 3 graphic novels that I've never heard of before, and that is also something that I really appreciate about the Strand, is that I feel like you can sometimes find like really obscure books that you've never heard of before, books that you've never seen before. So I picked out 3. Let's go over them. This is the one that I'm most excited about. It's called Last Chance to Find Duke. Now it is a graphic novel, but it reads in the same way that a manga reads, from right to left, whereas normally a graphic novel you would read it like a normal book, left to right. And I feel like this one might not sound interesting to a lot of people, but it sounds interesting to me, so don't judge me. But it's about an insect researcher who has one last chance to find Duke, which is a rare species of cricket whose chirping sounds like jazz. And if he doesn't find this cricket, then the Institute for Studying Extraordinary Creatures will cut funding for his research. So we follow him on his journey, and I know it sounds kind of weird, but something about it just stood out to me, and I just had to have it, so I picked it up. When I got back here yesterday, I immediately looked into the publisher, and they have so many other books that I want to read, so I'm excited about this. How many times have I said excited? This is why I don't like doing book hauls, because I feel like I just say, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited. No duh, you're excited. You got a new book, and you want to read it. Who isn't excited about a new book? The next one seems so weird and strange, which is partly why I was intrigued by it, and partly why I wanted to read it, but it's called Grog the Frog, the Book of Taurus. Every summer, Grog the Frog forgets to celebrate the most important magic ritual of the year, the Perseids harvest. But this year will be different. I specifically picked this up for 2 reasons, and it has nothing to do with the story at all. I will fully admit that. The first reason was the art style. I think the art looks really stunning, and it also is giving me major Adventure Time vibes. And that kind of ties in with the second part. The story itself looks really trippy and fantastical, which also gives me Adventure Time vibes. So I'm looking forward to this one. I almost said I'm excited, but I am excited. I just am tired of saying I'm excited. I'm intrigued. I can't wait to dive in. Adventure time. Come on, grab your friends. Finally, the last book that I got yesterday, though I have bought many a book this trip because I have a problem. The Paradox of Getting Better. This has 3 vignettes, and it's about our main character dealing with different stages of their life from trauma and mental illness, and we follow them as their identity transforms throughout this journey. I was super intrigued by the format of this one and how it's told through different vignettes, and I also am really intrigued by the art style because it kind of has this like, and I don't mean this in like a condescending sense, but it has like a very scribble style to it. Like it feels like very like scribbly, but it works. Like it's not bad. And I'm not saying that in a condescending way because I know that can kind of sound bad. It looks like scribbles, but like that's kind of the vibe it's giving. And I really like that vibe, which is why I picked this up. So I'm super excited to get to this one. Oh my god, I said it again. And I didn't even catch myself till like 5 seconds after I said it. And it was a genuine thing that I said. I was genuinely like, I'm excited about it. I'm excited for all these books, for crying out loud. That's my haul from yesterday. I've read a few books while I've been in New York, so I wanted to share my thoughts on them with you, do a little bit of a rapid review situation. I honestly have had some mediocre reads, which is fine, because I've read a lot of books recently that I've loved. I also thought that I've read a lot more than what I have here, but that's okay. I've only read 4 things, apparently. 2 books and 2 mangas. Let's start with the books. I read Speech Team. I was initially pulled into this book because of the cover alone, like I loved this cover. Then I read the little blurb on the inside, and I was like, oh yes, I need to read this. It reads, a funny, gossipy, and ultimately poignant novel about 4 Gen X teen friends turned 21st century adults who awkwardly come back together to confront an influential teacher whose brutal remarks have haunted them all for years. That small description was enough to have me wanting to read this book. I read it, and while that is true, that little blurb is true to the story, it's so much more about our main character and him being gay, and him kind of ridding the shame that he felt for being gay, him accepting being gay, because for a long time he was in denial. And so we're kind of following really just his overall experience in being gay. And then it does lead into that story of these friends coming together and then confronting this old teacher of theirs. But more so, it is really about this like exploration of our main character and him kind of figuring out his identity and being okay with his identity, because for a long time there was like shame attached to being gay, and it's about him kind of shedding that shame and being who he truly is. So truthfully, it is a good book. Like, I'm not denying that it's a great book, because I think that that exploration is really important, and it's really cool to kind of see him kind of like spread his wings and fly and become who he truly is. But I think because I went in with certain intentions and a certain idea as to what I was getting, I expected a lot more out of it, and I felt like it kind of was being pushed as a certain thing and ended up being an entirely different story, which is okay because I did like the story about him kind of figuring himself out. I just think that I went in with certain expectations and those expectations weren't met, so I was kind of disappointed, but it wasn't a bad book. I did have issues with the writing style. I almost immediately switched to the audiobook upon reading this book. Like, I think I got 2 chapters in and I was like, no. I'm audiobooking this because the flow is off when I'm just reading it with my eyeballs. And the audiobook did help. It kind of brought it to life and I was able to kind of fall into the flow a lot easier. I just was not a fan of the writing style overall. And then also it does this thing that I'm not like a huge fan of. It like referenced movie scenes a couple of times, which is such a small thing to critique, but it's something that I just wanted to bring up as one of my like reader icks, I guess. Like, I really do not like when there are like movie references, like specific scenes from movies. Like, I'm not mad when people are like, oh, this movie, 10 Things I Hate About You, I love that movie. Like, that's fine to include, but when you're like referencing specific scenes of a movie that I haven't seen, I'm not a huge fan of that, because like I haven't seen the movie, so I don't get the reference and I don't contextually understand why it's being included. That's why it's frustrating. But overall, I would give this a 3 out of 5 stars. I was a little disappointed, so overall 3 out of 5 stars from me. Then I read We Had to Remove This Post, which something that I want to mention before talking about this book is that I've been trying to go into books without looking up reviews before reading them. I've tried to do that for a long time. I go back and forth with reading reviews before reading a book and then not reading reviews before reading a book, and I'm trying to like stop reading reviews before I read a book, just because I feel like I get other people's thoughts in my head and I get other people's ideas in my head. But after I read this book, I had to immediately go to Goodreads and just see what other people were thinking about it, because I was like so let down by this book, because the concept sounds amazing and the execution non-existent. It was terrible. I was so disappointed in this book. In this book, we were following these content moderators, and they're basically working on an app similar to something like TikTok, and their job is to go through this flagged content and to decide if it needs to be removed or if it should stay on the platform, if it goes against their guidelines and different things like that. There's a lot that goes into their job. Obviously, they're seeing horrendous things on the daily, and that has a massive effect on their mental health. And we see how these workers are not really being protected. Like, they're enduring these like terrible things by seeing this like horrible content, and like they're not really given like a lifeline, essentially, like a place where they can go and be like, yeah, I saw all these horrible things and this is how it made me feel. So like that was like the most interesting part of the book for me, like the actual work environment. I feel like that work environment either could have led to like a really interesting discussion on people that work in this field and how they're not really protected, or it could have been like a really cool atmosphere for some kind of like thriller story to take place. And it definitely does have some like thrillery elements, and just like the overall workplace is really fascinating. It is a lot sometimes because there are mentions of so many like horrific things. I just felt like it went nowhere. Like I'm leaving this book being like, what was the purpose? There is something to be said about the things that we are constantly exposed to on a daily basis on social media, but I feel like this book didn't really explore that idea, and it very much so ended too early for there to be any kind of real discussion. If anything, it was like a conversation starter, but we didn't have the conversation. Like, you gave me the appetizer and you didn't bring me my meal. What are my hands doing? I don't know. I very much so am with the popular opinion on this book. Like, if you go to Goodreads, I think this book has like a 2-point-something star rating, and it has a lot of ratings. So a lot of people are reading this book and not loving it. So I'm kind of like of the popular opinion here, and I recognize that. I'm very intrigued to know if any of you guys have read this book and what your thoughts are on it, because it was a miss for me. This gets a 2 out of 5 stars from me. Then I read 2 manga books. I read Assassination Classroom. This one has been on my radar for a long time. I feel like often if you go to like the manga section in a bookstore, I can almost guarantee that you will find this at any Barnes & Noble in the United States. It has a really interesting concept. Basically, we have this like alien octopus teacher who just destroyed the moon and is now threatening to destroy the Earth. And so he is basically assigned to this class, and the class is assigned to assassinate him. Everything they do, they're just like not able to assassinate him. There's so many things that they try and they're never able to like take him down. Overall, it was like fun, I guess, in a weird way, because it is like kind of dark when you really think about it. Like, oh, this like alien is trying to take down the Earth and these kids have to assassinate him. Why are these kids being assigned to assassinate him? But there is like a fun element in them like trying to take him down, weirdly. It's like dark humor, I guess you could say. I liked it overall, but I just felt like it took a long time for things to start happening. This is a very long series, so I am interested to see if things are kind of just like dragged out through all these volumes. That's like my biggest fear, I think, is that it's just going to be dragged out. I'd give this a 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Summer Hikaru Died, which I think is probably my most favorite thing that I've read out of this pile, albeit I feel like this is really just the start to what's to come. This is very much so an introduction to a bigger story that's happening, so I didn't feel like the most satisfied when I reached the ending of this book. Anyway, in this book we were following 2 boys, Yoshiki, that's his name? Yoshiki and Hikaru. And Hikaru at one point went up to the mountains and then came back just like completely different. And he's just kind of trying to play it off like nothing's wrong, but his best friend is obviously like, you're not who you say you are. And the more that you read, more is unveiled about Hikaru and just how much he's changed. It's very eerie and creepy, and yet there's something very heartfelt just about the relationship between Hikaru and Yoshiki, because it is them being best friends, but there is romance there as well. You can tell that their situation goes beyond them just being friends. Like, they have love for each other, and that's part of like where that wholesomeness kind of comes in, but it is for the most part a very dark story. Overall, I gave this a 4-star rating. Those are the books that I've read recently. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys have read any of these books, and if not, then let me know what your most recent read was. let's talk about my current reads. I'm pretty deep into Lore Olympus. I imagine that I will finish this within the next few days. I saw Hades Town a couple of days ago, which I'm not even gonna lie, I knew next to nothing about before going into it, but I'm not even gonna try to explain to you what it's about, but it's got a Greek mythology element, and so, of course, that led me to Lore Olympus, because this also has a Greek mythology element running through it, obviously. This follows the love story of two Greek gods. We've got Hades and Persephone. And so far, it's been really fun. It's got such a fast pace to it. Like, I will just read it for like 5 minutes, and I feel like I've read so much, which I feel like that's pretty normal with graphic novels. But I've just been really enjoying this one. I really like the art style. I really like the story that's evolving. I will say sometimes I get overwhelmed by the characters and remembering who's who, but I'm hanging in there. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm excited to keep reading this one. I said I'm excited. I am excited, but I need to think of other ways to describe that excitement. Then I started I Hear the Sunspot. This is a manga. I am getting back to like reading manga and graphic novels, and that has me really happy because I love both these forms of storytelling. I just kind of went through a phase where I stopped reading them and I'm back to it. So, which I have a project in mind brewing in regards to graphic novels and manga. I don't know if I should fully talk about it yet, but like there's some things brewing. Maybe 2024, you'll see something in regards to that. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. In this, we are following Kohei and Taichi, and they were friends, and then that friendship developed into a love situation. We've got lovers here. We're following Kohei, who has hearing loss, and he's nearing graduation, and he's kind of doing that whole job hunt situation. And Taichi becomes really busy with work as he becomes responsible for a specific person within his job or something like that. And things seem to be going really well until drama erupts when one of Kohei's past lovers shows up and is trying to kind of get back into his life. I'm not super far into this one yet. I'm only 2 chapters in. It's pretty slow so far. Like, it has just a lot of dialogue and just a lot going on. It's a very different experience from Lore Olympus where I'm just like flying through it. This one is like definitely taking much more time. I am enjoying the story, but there are parts of it that can be a bit confusing and it's just a bit on the slower side, but overall, not too bad so far. And then I am a total of 2 chapters in to Kappa, which is really not that far. Yeah, I'm on page 9, guys, so nothing to be too excited about over here, okay? Nobody rejoice. Not that any of you are rejoicing. Let's reel it back in, Jesse. This is a short story. It's a translated Japanese story, and it's about these kappa creatures, which are child-sized creatures from Japanese folklore. And get this, they are known for looking something like frogs and are infamous for drowning unwary toddlers in rivers. Again, I'm not too far into this one yet. Only 2 chapters in, only 9 pages in, but the writing so far has been very strong and has left an impression on me and has me not excited. It has me wanting to keep reading. It has me, I'm hooked. I'm hooked, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. I am hooked on the book, so I can't wait to read more. That's my song, and it's coming to an end. Let me know in the comments if you guys have read any of those books, and also let me know in the comments what you're currently reading, because I want to know. We've reached the end of the video. I'm also holding my microphone because I'm a professional. La-di-da-di-dee, la-di-da-di-da. I don't have a mic stand, so this is the best that I could do. Hopefully this is not too chaotic, but we've reached the end of the video, and I forgot to mention the most important thing I've gotten while I've been in New York. That is a new addition to the Reader Fam, even though I haven't used the term Reader Fam in quite some time now. We got a boba frog, you guys. How cute is Mr. Boba Frog? The cutest. That's what he is, the cutest. I think he has a name. His name is Boba Wawa, but I think we should come up with a better name. So if you guys have name suggestions, leave them down below in the comments, and I will officially name him with the most liked comment. I'm a little too excited about this frog. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. That's the end of this video. Again, let me know down below in the comments what you guys are currently reading. I want to hear from you. Also, thank you to Redbubble for sponsoring today's video. Again, if you guys could go and click that link down below in the description, that helps me a lot. I appreciate you guys so much. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye. Say bye, Boba Frog. Bye.